More breaking news tonight. The FBI says it stopped a plan to bomb several places across L.A. on New Year's Eve. Officials say 4 people who were arrested over the weekend in Lucerne Valley, where the FBI says they were preparing to test explosive devices ahead of the attacks. Fox 11's Laura Diaz joins us now live from downtown L.A. with more on this story. Laura.
Yes, Susan, organized, sophisticated, and extremely violent. That is how prosecutors describe this alleged plot. As you just mentioned, it was supposed to take place on New Year's Eve, they said, and they went on to say that it would strike very close to home.
The individuals were arrested on Friday, December 12th, when the group attempted to construct and detonate IEDs out in the desert.
The FBI says this video Friday in the Mojave Desert shows homegrown terrorists moments before they detonated a bomb. Investigators say it was a test for 5 planned simultaneous New Year's Eve bombings at Southern California corporate locations at the stroke of midnight. According to the U.S. attorney, the suspects are an anti-government, anti-ICE network operating under the code name Operation Midnight Sun.
She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act."
Welcome to the video, everyone. This is Justin Paul. So as you just heard from the beginning of this news clipping, 5 individuals, their plans was thwarted by the FBI. They were planning to set off bombs across the LA area at, 5 different corporate company locations. And man, thank God that they were able to, come and intervene and get these individuals arrested. There's a lot of information, of course, that they're not going to release to us, but they were out there testing out the bombs and stuff like that to, see how they work and everything. And I tell y'all, man, this is like a movie, but it's actually reality. Jay-Z once famously said, "This ain't no movie, dog. This is reality." Man, you got people, they are anti-ICE, as they were saying. They're saying this is a sophisticated group and stuff like that. And I'm gonna just go back here a little bit in the clip to where they were showing the individuals. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I mean, these individuals, of course, they're not going to show you too much of their faces, but it looks like a mixed bag. It looks like a mixed bag. As far as just looking at last names, they all had different aliases and stuff like that. And it's just crazy that, they was looking to do grave harm or create chaos, Like I said, this sounds like some shit out of a movie plot.
Or an anti-government, anti-ICE network operating under the code name Operation Midnight Sun.
She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act."
The exact U.S. companies that were targets were not disclosed Monday, but details of how they hope to execute the lethal plan were. Investigators allege the bombs were hidden in backpacks and marked with graffiti.
Y'all see all that on that table? So they had the smarts, they had the knowledge of the materials, the ingredients, and everything they needed to create these bombs that they were going to use on New Year's Eve to set off at 12 a.m. going into the new year. They were really going to make a big bang. But it's good that the FBI was on to them before they could even get their plan off the ground.
And marked with graffiti. That by attacking at midnight, they planned to go undetected as holiday fireworks shows provided cover. FBI bomb technicians confirmed the step-by-step recipes for black powder pipe bombs likely would have worked. The 4 L.A. residents arrested were alleged members of an extremist group called Turtle Island Liberation Front. 30-year-old Audrey Carroll, 32-year-old Zachary Page, 24-year-old Dante Gaffield, and 41-year-old Tina Lay. All face charges of conspiracy and Dante Gaffield, Carroll, 30-year-old Audrey Carroll, 32-year-old Zachary Page, 24-year-old Dante Gaffield, and 41-year-old Tina Lay. All face charges of conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device. Retired LAPD Deputy Chief Mike Downing, who headed up the anti-terrorism task force, told me what really bothers him is the apparent burgeoning homegrown network.
The danger is that they're sharing ideologies, they're sharing resources, they're sharing training. There's no, the pure ideologies seem to be mixed bags, so to speak. And I think that's dangerous.
Nearly 8,000 miles away, the attack on Hanukkah celebrants in Sydney, Australia, that left 15 dead are a stark reminder of fomenting hatred.
Yeah, there's a lot of hatred going on, a lot of demonic activity. People want to cause chaos in your regular, everyday, normal lives. Even on this internet, you have people who just literally spend their time posting hateful comments and things of that nature, when you really don't even have to post that type of stuff at all. Like, it's a comment, but it's just like, it's just within people, they're just full of hatred, they're like something in their lives isn't going right. They may have missed a mark here or there and this, that, and the third, and now they just have pure hatred in their heart. Again, it sounds like something out of a movie.
Let's bring in NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs Correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly, thanks for being with us. Really just some stunning details here. What I mentioned, the Turtle Island Liberation Front, as well as what sounds like an even more sort of radical group within that group called the Order of the Black Lotus. We understand sort of the leader here said that their sort of mission was, quote, everything radical. Tell me what just stuck out to you from that press conference.
Well, I've also been reviewing the criminal complaint here, which is a very dense document that talks about how human sources were able to deal with this group, provide information that authorities were able to act on, handwritten plans to have backpacks filled with pipe bombs for what they claim are planned attacks that would have, had this group been able to move forward, targeting New Year's Eve across 5 locations in Los Angeles. This group, which may be new to, it was new to me, it may be new to many of our viewers, describes itself as wanting to use not just peaceful means to take action. In fact, they decry peaceful means based on quotes that are obtained and written into this document from the handwritten notes in preparation that authorities claimed they were able to receive. Anti-government, anti-capitalism, wanting to have sovereignty, the name Turtle Island associated with some Native American groups referring to North America. So there's a lot here to try to understand. What clearly has taken place in terms of the law enforcement piece is they were able to intercept this. They were able to get, through search warrants, through interviews, through reviewing documents, enough information that they believe they were able to take these 4 individuals off the playing field, if you can use that term. A 5th person also arrested in New Orleans, perhaps related to this. And it talks about a very organized plot. We don't have all the details yet in going through this about how they were financed or how long this has been in the works. But this is the kind of thing that when the sheriff was talking about use your instincts, if people see something in their community and it looks askew to them, listen to that instinct, because these kinds of homegrown, small group plots can be something that can be at times difficult to penetrate. And in this case, the FBI and the collaboration of law enforcement were able to get real active intel with plans for testing explosives out in the desert, descriptions of what their motivations were. There's also a political piece in this. And so there's the law enforcement work that has brought us to this point with this criminal complaint and these defendants being in court later today to face these charges. And then obviously you heard what is an overarching theme of the Trump administration, and that is the argument that that they are looking for left-leaning groups that are anti-government, anti-capitalism, and willing to stoke violence. We've seen a lot of political violence in our country. this year in particular. And certainly this plays into part of what the administration says it wants to root out. This certainly falls right into that category of the kinds of groups they are pursuing. And in this case, they have a lot of supporting evidence, as evidence is described in this criminal complaint, that shows intent. It shows the tools, the bomb-making materials, a lot of details that help to bring this case together and potentially to have thwarted a plot that might have played out around the holidays.
And you just never know who else is being influenced by this ideology. Um, a little, of course, it's a lot of people out here who are anti-government, anti-capitalism, and you know, anti-political parties and stuff like that. And they just don't take it to this level as far as making a solid plan and trying to go test out, the equipment that's going to be used in that plan and things like that. But great job to the FBI and any other agency that was on top of this. That's why you guys are in the position that you are in order to throw out plots like this and to keep America safe. Again, I always like to think back to my thinking of coming up as like a younger man, and I just never thought about stuff like this. Even after 9/11 happened, and like I was in middle school when that happened. Um, I just didn't know that it was like just such a deep hatred for like just regular everyday people who just go about living their lives, and even if it's not against the people, that the normal regular everyday lives individuals, the citizens of the United States, they hate entities and governments so much that they'll hurt the people because they have this certain hatred. And of course, I get it. I never understand it, and I'll never really truly get the goal of what they plan to accomplish. Because you know, with the way our resources work, it's never going to end good for you. And so, we'll see what more information becomes of this. Of course, they're going to be very, very sparse with the information because, this is a very, very serious, type of thing. And they're not just going to be giving all the information to the public. So, we'll try to dive deep and get a little bit more information as the information becomes available. But if you like my channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate everyone who has subbed up to my channel thus far. Like this is the type of stuff I'm passionate about. Of course, I love like rap music and I love sports and stuff like that. And I feel like it's going to come a time where, I do get into doing a lot more of that type of content. But for right now, I'm really passionate about what's going on in like our reality, what's going on in our day to day, and really just trying to give my reactions to those type of things. So that's what my channel is definitely going to be about. Again, I do appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel, and just leave a comment. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I love reading the comments, whether it's good or bad. I definitely just love reading the comments. Again, this is Justin Paul. Peace.